So this was news that came out earlier this week, but it was so low to the ground I didn't get any notification of it. It wasn't until recently someone told me, "Oh yeah, this might happen." And that's the thing. Keyword might happen. And that is the news that, and I put air quotations, the news that James Wan, the director of such films like The Conjuring, the helm of the Conjuring universe, Malignant, one of the people behind Saw. Basically, he's like a major face in the horror genre. Also a superhero with Aquaman, but, there was Aquaman 2, but whatever, we're not going to talk about it. Basically, he has been tapped by Universal Studios to work on the remake for Creature from the Black Lagoon, a remake of the Universal monsters that has been in limbo for ages. That's the thing, is that of all the Universal monsters, all of the classic Universal monsters, that Gillman has been the only one who has not gotten his remake. He's made weird, and don't say Monster Squad, okay? That wasn't him. That wasn't Universal Studios. But that's the closest we've gotten. So, a few things. One, this is not confirmed by anybody. Hell, Universal Studios hasn't even said anything about it. In fact, I don't even I take this with a huge grain of salt from the Gobi Desert. That's how far it is. There has been a lot of buzz of a new Creature from the Black Lagoon movie, but that's every other 5 years with Universal Studios. It's they can't get this one right, and I don't know how. How do you fail at that? How, of all the Universal monsters, why is it Gillman the hardest one? You just have a group of people go into this, go into the Amazon, they fuck around, and they find out from the Gillman. I don't know if it's script or design of the Gillman, but it really does feel like they don't know what to do half the damn time. But James Wan if this is true, James Wan is probably the best one to probably handle this. One, the dude's good at horror. Really good at horror. And he's also been, he's always said that, the classic monsters were always, a big inspiration for him. And also, when you really think about it, Creature from the Black Lagoon is an early action horror movie. You can see signs of it from, you can see, how it inspired things like Predator and, Dog Soldiers. There are bits and pieces. It all, and, of course, King Kong is more like it, but, you clearly see that, for the monster design and the elements of it, you can clearly see it in action horror written all over that film. And one thing he's been Wan has been really good at is mixing action with horror, especially if you saw Malignant, and also that scene with the trench in Aquaman. Dude is really good at it. I mean, he's also had a hand in I think he also had a hand in the Fast and Furious movies. I don't fucking care about that. But I do care about, getting the right person for, such an iconic monster. A monster a lot of people love, even though he's only had really only one good movie. Now let's say for whatever reason, this is true. Let's say in some form or fashion that this is gonna be real. How would they, first we gotta talk about the creature design. How do you match the perfection that was the Gillman's design that was created by Millicent Patrick? It was such a perfect blend of human and fish that it's impossible to replicate without going overboard and making it either too human or you go overboard and make it too monstrous. There's a fine line and no one has been able to find it. That's kind of the big thing with Gillman. Whenever people talk about new designs for the Gillman, they don't really have a good idea of how to make that Gillman design work. I'm sorry, but as much as I love Monster Squad, the Gillman is just more... and I get it, that was the idea, was to make it more a more monstrous design of the Gillman. I get it, that was the thing. But if you did that as an actual Gillman film, I think a lot of people would be turned off by that. Again, the thing that made the Gillman suit work so well is that you could clearly see that it's a perfect blend of, again, human human and fish, which gives it this kind of this face that has this very emotive, very sad, even though it is just a rubber mask, it really did convey this kind of look of curiosity, anger, and sadness that the Gillman feels. And again, hats off to Millicent Patrick for creating such a amazing design that probably may never be replicated. So that's, you gotta get the right creative team. And also, do you go CGI or motion capture with the Gillman, or do you go full practical effects? I'm pretty sure the studio would make them go motion capture or CGI. I do have this feeling that, maybe James Wan would probably want it to be practical effect, an actual suit, but studio might get their way and just make it motion capture. Who knows? Yeah. And here's the thing. This isn't the first time we've gotten a star director tapped for a Creature from the Black Lagoon movie. If you guys remember, way back in the 90s, John Carpenter was actually going to direct a Creature from the Black Lagoon remake. It was one of their big things that they wanted to throw out, along with King Kong, The Mummy. It was Universal wanted to revamp a lot of classic films, and back in the 90s, and really they only got The Mummy, and that was at the end of the 90s, and then Kong a few years later in the early 2000s. One of the things they really wanted was Creature from the Black Lagoon, but that one couldn't get off the ground with even with Carpenter, a veteran director who has a majority of his films under Universal, off the ground. And then I don't know how real this one was, but I do remember there was a lot of talk of Rob Zombie being tapped to direct a new Creature from the Black Lagoon. But after how bad Halloween went, I don't blame them for canning it. But that one, I think, also was said to have Bill Paxton in the film. That would have been kind of awesome, really. But I don't know how true that is. Anyway, so, again, I don't know why it's so hard to do a Creature from the Black Lagoon movie. Honestly, it's probably the easiest out of all of them. I think people are just kind of overcomplicating it. Kind of like the Blade movie. It's such a simple... You do not have to overthink it. You really don't have to overthink this character. And I don't know why people are. But again, there's nothing been officially confirmed. I do put a little more stake into this because James Wan and Blumhouse are merged together, have merged companies together, and there's also the whole thing of Blumhouse working a lot with Universal Studios, and there has been talk of Wan working with another Universal Studios movie, so this could be it. Who knows? But yeah. So you guys tell me in the comments below, are you guys hoping this is real, that James Wan could do a new Creature from the Black Lagoon movie, or do you think it's just a dead rumor? Who knows? Anyway, just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.